What's up? I'm Michael, writing a college dorm safety paper for English 102 at the University of Arizona. College dorm safety. There are many different things that parents are worried about when they send their children to college. One of the major fears that parents have is their children will not be safe while living in college dorm rooms. The main issues of safety come from drugs, violence, and the dorm security. It is said that college campuses were once thought to be safe havens where people could send their sons and daughters without having fear that they might become victims. My personal affiliation with this community is that I am a college freshman currently living in on-campus housing. Many residence assistants would state that the campus living is safe, but those on campus may disagree. This issue causes those living in campus living to constantly be worried about drugs, violence, and the dorm security. Although some believe the dorm or the community of college students living in campus housing is safe, others would state that the dorms lack security. Many students and resident assistants would state that the college campus living provides poor security and conflicts with the safety of those living there. Many argue that the college dorms can easily be accessed from multiple entry points. This brings up the issue of people having access to the dorms who are not supposed to. One dorm room theft occurred at the University of Cincinnati. The story states the student says she woke in her Daniels Hall dorm room at about 12:20 a.m. Tuesday to find a strange man inside. The student said in court documents that the intruder left and she realized her $900 laptop computer was missing. UC police are troubled. The suspect was able to get into the dorm, which is normally secured with front doors that lock. Students use CAT cards or security cards to enter the building. The author appeals to ethos to add strength and credibility to the argument for the lack of security in college living communities. She does this by using official sources such as court documents and UC police to add credibility and support to her argument. This breach of security is common throughout colleges nationwide. One might say that a stranger who has such easy access to students' dorm room proves the lack of security in the dorm system. UC police are worried that the entry points are not secure. A study was done to test this theory at Indiana University of Pennsylvania, where a back entrance to the Turbine Hall at at Indiana University of Pennsylvania is supposed to be locked, but it's open. We're able to walk right in. Once we're in, we're able to walk all over the dorms without being questioned. This statement appeals to ethos by stating the researcher's personal experience of the minimal security in college dorms. The author's personal experience adds credibility to the argument and shows the lack of dorm room security provided for students living in on-campus housing. Some might argue that this lack of college dorm security affects the safety of those living there. Although dorms seem to have minimal amounts of security, there are other sources that may suggest otherwise. Some dorm authorities and students would agree that campus living provides security to the students living there, keeping them safe. They would state that the college dorms nationwide are secured with new technology and advancements that keep it safe. One arguing point would be that colleges nationwide have security cards issued to every student that are required upon entry to the dorms. Greg Peffer, a University of Arizona student, states, I live on campus and the dorms are very secure. We all watch out for each other in the dorms. The RAs on campus make sure that we know not to let anyone in the dorms who does not belong. We have CAT cards which keep out people who don't live here. The student's personal statement appeals to ethos by stating his first-hand experience. His use of ethos adds credibility to the argument that dorms are a safe living environment for students. Greg is stating that with the correct use of security cards, the dorms can be kept safe and secure. One might also argue that resident assistants, older students who monitor each hallway, and other authorities make sure that the dorms are secure. College Crime and Prevention and Personal Safety Awareness states, administrators have become increasingly aware that if they fail to provide an adequate level of security on their campus, they may be subjecting their institution and themselves personally to third-party civil liability lawsuits. This use of authority shows the fear resident assistants and dorm authorities have when keeping the dorm safe, because the issue of lawsuit leaves resident assistants responsible for their dorm's safety. One might say that this liability causes these authorities to work harder at their jobs for fear of their students and their own safety. Many people believe that living on campus is safe of violence for students who live there. Some people believe that there is an issue of violence when living in on-campus housing, which makes students living there unsafe. There have been many different instances where violence has occurred in on-campus living facilities. At the Indiana University of Pennsylvania, in the dorm, the door to the third floor bathroom where police say a woman was sexually assaulted earlier this year is wide open. There is a woman in the shower. Her towel is hanging over the door. The author of this article establishes pathos by creating a visual image of the scenario. Many would say that with this violence in the dorms, it brings fear to those living in on-campus housing and could make an innocent student a victim. The woman who was sexually assaulted at the Indiana University of Pennsylvania was a victim due to the violence in college dorms. One could also say the violence presented in college dorms leaves students susceptible to being victims. Jackson states, in 2003, there were 10 reported murders on American college campuses, and that there have been an increasing number of incidents of violence, harassment, and disrespect on campuses. The author appeals to logos by stating statistics that allow the audience to understand the severity of violence on college campuses. One argument states that an increase in the number of murders and violent crimes on college campuses causes for a fear within the college living community. They would also say that by living in on-campus housing, students will not feel secure in their own living spaces and will be more susceptible to violence. Some people believe that living in college campus community leaves students available to violence, but others believe that college dorms are a violent-free environment. Some people say that the college dorms are free of violence, keeping students living there safe. One large argument towards the lack of violence in dorms is the known presence of campus law enforcement. Colleges throughout the nation have personal law enforcements that are designed for campus safety. The goal of college campus law enforcement is to help ensure a safe, secure atmosphere, which is conducive to the attainment of educational objectives of the institution. The campus law enforcement agency is usually involved in functions such as patrol, investigation, traffic control, and public education programs, which are designed to reduce the opportunity for crime and traffic accidents to occur. The author appeals to ethos by stating the positives of campus law enforcement. This gives the audience a better understanding of campus police and adds a sense of security. Campus law enforcement is on campus to provide safety for those going to school and living in campus communities. Many would agree that they keep college campuses safe from violent behavior and crime. The Crime Awareness and Campus Safety Act also supports the argument of the lack of violence in college campus living. In 1990, the Crime Awareness and Campus Security Act's primary objective was to require post-secondary educational institutions which receive federal funds to report crime statistics and security procedures annually to the Department of Education. The act was heralded as a significant step towards addressing the problem of crime on our nation's college and university campuses. The author uses ethos to add credibility to the argument by stating the specific government act. By requiring the data and statistics of crimes that occur on college campuses nationwide, there is a better understanding of how to stop these crimes. The Crime Awareness and Campus Security Act, developed over time, allows authorities to better understand the violent crimes on college campuses and then make advances to stop the violence. Many would state that this act helps stop violence for those in campus housing and keeps students safe. Some people believe that there is a large issue with drugs when living on campus housing, which keeps students unsafe. Many people believe that college campus dorms are filled with drugs that affect the safety of students living there. While living in the dorms, many students face different issues of buying and selling illegal drugs. Many say that innocent students find themselves being forced into uncomfortable situations dealing with drugs by either intervening or speaking with authorities. Although some may think that a college drug dealer is a small threat, it has turned out to be an exploration of much more extensive and serious drug dealing network, a collection of college drug dealers loosely subdivided into several primary strains of fluid, informationally organized distribution channels servicing one common user base. The author describes the growth of college drug dealers to inform the audience of the severity of the issue. His appeal to pathos is evident through the detailed description given. It seems as if the author is trying to stress this point to influence the audience. Many people believe that college drug dealers have expanded and are present in dorm life. They state that the fact that so many of these drug dealers are present in dorm life shows the easy access to drugs that students living in dorm life have. Muhammad states, while the list of reasons for illicit street drugs use by college students runs the gamut, from self-medication to simple desire to get high, the fact of the matter remains that for many people who are too young to legally purchase alcohol, street drugs are indeed easier to come by. The author appeals to the pathos by using different words such as simple and desire. His use of pathos draws the audience into the issue on a more personal level and causes for a more emotional reaction. Many believe that students who live in on-campus living communities have an easier chance to come in contact with illegal drugs, leaving students unsafe. Some say that this easy access to drugs leaves students living in campus dorms lacking safety, but others would disagree. Many people believe that drugs are not an issue when living in campus housing. Some would say that students are too worried about consequences to sell drugs. The deterrence theory states that before making a choice, human beings weigh the positives and negatives of that choice before deciding. Muhammad states, when these choices involve unlawful behaviors, adherents to deterrence theory posit that by racketing up punishments and the costs of doing business, potential criminals will opt to conform to societal norms rather than pay the costs associated with running afoul of the legal system. The author appeals to ethos and logos by stating and explaining the theory and how it pertains to college drug dealers. This statement supports the lack of drugs located in campus living because it states that those who think about selling illegal drugs usually choose not to in fear of the law. Some believe that this fear keeps students living in campus housing safe from drugs. Many college students nationwide make clear their position on drugs on campus before students attend the school. Those who try to sell drugs within the confines of the college dorm room are in constant fear of being caught by college authorities. The